Hi, my name is Tim Mobley, and welcome again. This time, it's how to checkmate with a king and two bishops versus a king. This is all from my book, How to Checkmate with the King, Bishop, and Knight randomly, and so much more, available in stores everywhere. So today, we're going to go into how to checkmate with the king and two bishops, and we're going to start out with threading the bishops. Now, what that means is, if the king is on this side, you want to thread the bishops first towards the king, and then you want to level out. See that? Then you don't want to go away from the king, you want to thread the bishops again towards the king, level out, towards the king, level out. And this is something that you can practice at home. Towards the king, level out, towards the king, level out. Notice how the bishops stay centralized throughout this whole time. Towards the king, level out, towards the king, and finally, level out. Excellent. So, once you've mastered threading the bishops, which shouldn't take you too long if you haven't done it already, it's time to begin checkmating with a king and two bishops versus king. Now these are all standard ways, and later on we're going to get to how to do these randomly. But first, what we want to do is we want to lock into a system. And then once we lock into that system, then we can checkmate. So, in the beginning, we want to get our king right next to the bishops. So, this king goes here, and this king comes down. This king goes here, and this king comes down. Now from here, in the beginning, in chess, what do we want to do with our king? Well, we want to get all of our minor pieces out and tuck our king to safety by castling. That's the general rule. But in the end game, when there's no chance of this king being checkmated, we actually want to lead with the king. Now you may ask, well, what's the difference? Well, the difference is, if this king has no chance of checkmating this king, then this king can make a mistake and come right here. And guess what? It's an illegal move, which makes it a do-over. So, now you can do the right move, which is stay a knight's move away from this king, pushing me back. See that? And then say I come here. This king stays a knight's move away from the opponent's king, pushing it back. And then once you push it back, what do we do now? What have we been practicing? That's right, threading the bishops. So if the king's on this side, you want to thread the bishops towards the king. And then you want to level out. And we're going to get to why that's important in a moment. So again, this king wants to stay here and prevent being pushed here and then into one of these two corners. So, this king, again, leads with the king and knight's move away. Leads with the king and knight's move away. And then finally, when this king gets pushed back, we thread the bishops towards the king and then level out. Then again, this king comes here. Now, as I said before, you really want to lead with your king. That doesn't mean it's the only move you can make. You can do this. You can move this bishop right there to push this back. And then that will, of course, push it back one way or the other because this king is protecting all these. And then this can come here. No biggie. However, I don't recommend it. The reason why is because people make mistakes all the time. And if you make a mistake here and threads the bishops towards the king, this is okay. But if you do it away from the king, what happens now? This king can take it. And then you went from a winning game to a draw. So, that's why I always recommend leading with the king. So again, lead with the king and knight's move away. Lead with the king and knight's move away. Once you push it back, sometimes this will happen. Sometimes what will happen is you'll forget to thread the bishops and you'll go, oh, let me go a nice move away again. which allows this king to come back here. If that happens, it's no big deal. You just follow the same pattern. Stay a nice move away from the king. Stay a nice move away from the king. And this time, when this king comes here, we do what? That's right, we thread the bishops. So we go towards the king, and then we level out, just like that. And then again, knights move away, knights move away, thread the bishops towards the king, and then level out. There we go. And then this king comes here, and again, once again, it's a knight's move away, a knight's move away, and then we thread the bishops towards the king, and then we level out, just like that. Now, here is the tricky part. This king is on the third rank and the third file, which is exactly where you want it to be at this point. What happens if we keep going a knight's move away? Well, if we go knight's move away here, and then this comes here, and then we go knight's move away here, what is that? That's right, it's stalemate, because this bishop guards here, this bishop guards here, this bishop and the king guard here, and the king guards here. So the only safe square for this king is where it's at, but it can't move anywhere, and it's black's turn, so that's called stalemate. So we want to be careful about this. What we want to do is, when the white king is on the third rank of the third file, it should stop. And now, we want to figure out where we're going to checkmate the black king. Well, because the white king is over here, you want to checkmate it in this corner. Push it back. Question is, how do we do that? Well, this is the basic method for doing that. See this bishop? It cuts off this square. This bishop cuts off this square. The next way you want to do is cut off is this square, the square where the king just came from, because you're trying to push it this way. So how do we do that? Well, if we do it by putting the bishop here, that cuts off this square. The only problem is it also cuts off the escape square. And that is, you guessed it, stalemate. So instead of doing stalemate, what you want to do is you want to cut it off this way. Push it back this way. So you cut it off. Now, this bishop cuts off this square, this bishop cuts off this square, the next square to cut off is this square. How do we do that? By moving this bishop right there. Now, the king's only move, the black king's only move is right there. So next, this bishop cuts off this square, this bishop cuts off this square, the next square you want to cut off is this square. How do we do that? You guessed it. Now we move this bishop right there. Now, this king is going to try and come around this way and escape. So it's not going to want to come here, it's going to come here. And when that happens, don't panic. This bishop cuts off this square, this bishop cuts off this square, the next square you want to cut off is this square. So take care of the basics first. Cut off the squares where the king just came from. So bring that right there. Now this king is coming here, it's going to come this way and escape. Now, there's going to be a strong temptation for you to move this bishop right here and try and cut that off. But you don't really want to do that. What you want to do is you want to get these two bishops here and here to corral the king. So the question is, which bishop do we move first? Do we move this bishop here first, or do we move this bishop here first? You guessed it. We move this bishop here first to cut off this escape square. And now the black king's only move is right here. And now the bishop completes the task by coming here. And then this king moves here. Now I want you to notice something. Even without the white king being there, this bishop cuts off this square and this square. This bishop cuts off this square and this square. It creates a box around the black king. And so this king is trapped in that box. It cannot escape this box. So, that's the good news. Better news is that if this king somehow managed to get here, you also create the box, because this king is needed only to guard this square and this square. It's not needed to guard this square to trap the black king in the box. So the question is, how do we get this king to replace this bishop? Now the bishop has several moves it can make, but if it makes any move off of this diagonal, say here, it allows this king to come here. So what we want to do is we want to prevent this king from coming here. So the best, obviously we can't move it here because the king will just take it. But we can move it here, 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 or here. I always prefer keeping it simple, just moving it one square back. And then when this king makes its other move, which is right there, the other king replaces it, just like that. And now, this king comes here. Now you may ask, well, why was that necessary? If the two bishops created the box, why do we need to replace one of the bishops with the king? Well, it's because we need that bishop to give the final checkmate, or at least one of them. So if the king is here, it's checkmate in 2 moves, but each move has to give a check. And the only thing that can give a direct check to the king are the 2 bishops. The king cannot come here because that's an illegal move. So it has to be the 2 bishops that do it. So that's the reason why we needed to replace this bishop with this king. So checkmate in 2. First move is check. And then when this comes here, the only square where the king is safe is here, and then we go checkmate. Now, if the king happened to be here, once you've done all of this, and the king has replaced the bishop, then it's still checkmate in 2, but each move has to give a check. So instead of this bishop coming here, which would be stalemate, you simply make sure you check it. So if the king's on a dark square, the only bishop that can check it is a dark square bishop. So first it's check, and then finally it is checkmate. Thank you all for coming.